Okay, so again, we're going to be talking about our commonly misused words. We're still on that unit. Now we're kind of moving into the lower end of the alphabet, and we're going to talk about 3 today that can be really, really confusing based on their spelling and sometimes based on their pronunciation. So we're going to try to clear those up and try to commit those to memory so we don't make those mistakes. That can cost us some points and stuff on essays and writing and just cause confusion, basically, whenever you're trying to communicate. So the first 2 are precede and proceed. Precede is spelled P-R-E-C-E-D-E. Proceed is spelled P-R-O-C-E-E-D. So whenever you're using the word precede, you're going to use it to mean to come before something. And I like to memorize that based off the word prequel or preview. If you think about going to a movie and you're watching the previews or the commercials beforehand, it's stuff that you see beforehand, advertisements before the movie. But or if you're watching a prequel or reading a prequel, it's a story that's happened before the main story. So that's a good way to remember it. But in a sentence, we would say pre-writing precedes the rough draft of a good paper, meaning a rough draft should have pre-writing coming before the actual paper writing process. And then if we use the word proceed, it means to go forward or to move ahead. So if we're using that in a sentence, we would say he proceeded with his speech after the applause. So it's something that happens after. So it's really, it can be confusing to a lot of readers or writers just because they are so similar in how they look and how they sound, but they actually mean completely opposite things. Next, we've got 2 words, principal and principal. They are spelled almost identically, and they have the exact same pronunciations. Principal, spelled P-A-L. I always used to remember it like principal is actually a person. A pal can be a person, so that's one that we always remember is, the person of authority in the school. It can also mean something that is the most important, like of an idea or a notion. And that's the way I used it in a sentence here, in saying the principal ingredient in chocolate chip cookies is chocolate chips, because it's the most important ingredient. Now here we've got principle spelled P-R-I-N-C-I-P-L-E. And this means a general or a fundamental truth, kind of like if you ever heard, it's the principle of the thing. It's meaning it's the general truth, or it's the general notion, or the general idea of it. So, in a sentence, we would say the study was based on the principle of gravity, the idea, the basic general truth, the basic fundamentals of gravity. Next, we have words that used to confuse me a lot, and sometimes I still get them mixed up, so it's something that's really important to, just kind of put in your memory bank. We've got stationary and stationary. The first one with an A, it means standing still. So I like to think of a stationary bike or something like that. But if you're using it in a sentence, you would say the accident was my fault because the other car was stationary, meaning it was standing still. Now this one is spelled the exact same except for an E in the place of where the A is. And it means writing paper, something you would write letters on or anything like that, anything form of paper. So if we were using it in a sentence, we would say my mother bought me stationery on recycled paper. Sometimes I try to memorize that by thinking that standing still means this type of stationery, and there are A's in both of these words. But then in stationery, if you're thinking paper, there's an E in paper. That's kind of a little bit far-reaching, but it's something that, if you can think of things like that to help you memorize these words, then that's a great thing to do because they're really important, and it's really easy to get them confused, which can, cost you points on a paper or just cause general confusion in communication in everyday life.